Can anyone hear me? Hello?
Well, I can hear you.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Ken. Can anyone else hear me? Is everyone here? How you all doing today? Great, great. Good to have you all here today. My name is Dr. Mukhtar. Lasisi. I'm the founder of Marshall Technology. But before we go into that, I'll just give us a few minutes. We're like 4 minutes in. If you can unmute, that's fine. If you want to put it in the chat, that's fine. Tell us who you are, where you're joining from, what you hope to get out of this call today. Let's get that going as others join us. Just start. So as you're joining, you can unmute or you can put it in the chat. Who you are, where you're joining from, where you want to get out of the call today. Just starting. It's okay to unmute. Unmute and talk to us. Is anyone here? Hello guys, are you all here? Is anyone here with me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Harmony from Calgary. You're here to learn more. Okay, that's good. Good to have you here. Collins from Toronto. Okay, right. Thank you for being here. Chigozie, are you here with us? I can see Chini, I can see Linda, Martin, I can see Sheku, Ndiaye. Who else am I? I can see 014. I'm sure there's a name behind that. Linda, great. Femi William, thank you for being here. Cybersecurity rookie. Okay, we'll see how much of a rookie you are. Nice. Good to have you here, Femi. Linda, do you want to unmute and talk to us? Or you want to put it in the chat? Hey. Okay, from Calgary, thank you for being here. I was expecting a few more people, but the good thing is we're recording. And even if we start now, we will be able to send the recording. Again, how soon that would be, I can't say for sure, but we'll try our best depending on how much information we share and how much of it can we share after now. So that determination will be made and hopefully we'll be able to share the recording with you. Excuse me. Okay, so to get us started, I know most people, if not everybody here, do not know who this is. You probably saw me from the flyer before you booked the call. So I'll just do a quick introduction of myself. I'll introduce Kenneth, who's our consultant, a great guy, and I'd say he's milking this industry. So yeah, and he's been telling us how beautiful this space is. I've known him for a while, and I can tell you for sure that when they say cybersecurity is lucrative, this is definitely the person to talk to. So I'll introduce him later on. So my name is Dr. Mukhtar. So like I said before, I'm the founder of Marshall Technology. So Marshall Technology is a cybersecurity consulting and training organization. So we help organizations, businesses improve and mature their cybersecurity practices. And we also help individuals like yourself build lucrative careers in this field, because this is a beautiful field. And yeah, we've done some great things for ourselves and we help others. In that time, we've helped hundreds of people make this transition through a framework that actually works. And here, this is I'm sure you didn't pay anything to join this, to register for this webinar. This is a free session where we're just enlightening people, demystifying some of the misconceptions and just showing you how beautiful this space is and how practical it is to join, like how easy, I wouldn't say easy, but how a clear framework, a clear path to actually getting into this field. You know, I'm sure you've heard some things and you just want to make sure those things are real or they're not. So that's why we're here today. We'll be talking about a path that I would say is not true. A lot of people don't talk about it. A lot of people run from it because they believe it's technical. And if there's anyone that knows so much about this field, it's Kenneth here. He knows so much about this field and he can tell you that you can navigate this space with relative ease and you can make so much money, ton of money in this field. So I will let Ken introduce himself right now and we'll just get right into it. Ken, over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Can you hear Ken?
Yeah. Hi guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, they can.
All right. Brilliant. My name is Ken. Kenneth. That's my full name anyway. My full nomenclature. Yeah. So I've been in cybersecurity for about 12 years now. I have in that time worked for a lot of organizations, right? From Canada to the US to America, right? And I have worked for different profiles of organizations. So from financial technology organizations to banks to software developments. Right? I've had case to engage with different organizations. I have a variety of certifications that are also relevant to this space. But I think more pertinent to what we're doing here is the fact that I have had the good grace, and put it that way, to have transitioned within several fields of information technology into cybersecurity. I didn't always start as a cybersecurity analyst or engineer. I started my career as an IT professional from IT support and IT network administration before I finally got into cybersecurity in my early days. Okay, so today we will be talking, or I would want to talk to you both from my experience, right, into what security operations is about and how or why this is, a high or your most feasible path into cybersecurity. Okay, I want to share something I have in here. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Yes.
It's coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up now. But you're not sharing the slide. Do you want to share the slide?
Yeah, no, I'm not sharing the slide. It's usually easier to navigate this way. Okay, so you can see my slide now.
The slide. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. All right. So again, I want to thank everyone for jumping on this call. And I think I'll just start off with a question. And this could be a question that you've asked yourself before in the past. Sorry, Tim, I think there are more people in the waiting room. We'll just keep inviting
Yes,
them.
yes.
Okay. Right. So you may have asked yourself several questions, right? You have certain reasons, that have brought you right now to this call. Maybe you've said you want a new career that pays extremely well, right? Maybe you want a job that offers you security in the current climate. Okay? Maybe you want a job that allows you to work from anywhere or any part of the world. I take it from me. I'm usually not in one place for long. I've been fortunate enough to work for organizations across various continents, right, from the comfort of my home. Okay? You want something that you can learn, something that you can transition into, that does not require you going back to school for another 4 years. That's what we're talking about today. Okay, that's what we want to delve into today. That is security operations. Now, security operations is a niche within cybersecurity. It's your entry point into cybersecurity for anybody who wants a job that answers those questions. I've been fortunate enough to work with people from all walks of life. I have trained people who went to theological school. So I had a student at some point in the last 2 years, whose first degree and second degree was in theology studies, who today is a cybersecurity professional. I have worked with single moms, right, that started off even doing works from night shifts in healthcare. Okay, I've seen a warehouse team lead transition into cybersecurity. And what that guy did was use all his experience from Walmart. And when you see how he packaged his experience from Walmart to transition into cybersecurity, you'll be in awe, right? So I've seen them all break through into cybersecurity, and I've seen them all do it from security operations. They didn't come to become hackers. They didn't start by being hackers. They didn't start by learning how to code, okay? But what they learned to do was how to detect threats for organizations, how to follow procedures, okay? How to follow step-by-step instructions that have been laid out for them to follow, and then how to communicate clearly. And the awesome part of this is that these were things that they were already doing from their previous jobs. So nobody is asking you to start over. We're saying that this is your chance to pivot. This is a chance to pivot into a role that allows you to work from anywhere, give you high figures in terms of salary, and does not require you to go back to schools to start learning for 4 years. You can be job ready in 2 months or less. And that's why I want to shed, some light on. Now, there are various myths that you may have heard with regards to security operations or cybersecurity, right? And chief among them is the fact, or not the fact anyway, or that particular slogan or norm where people say that cybersecurity is too technical. Cybersecurity is a very technical field. That isn't necessarily true. Okay, you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be super technical. You hear that you need people who have a degree in computer science. That's not true. In fact, I'll tell you that cybersecurity is one of the very few fields or career fields in the world today that doesn't really care what your first degree is. It's one of the only fields where recruiters and your interviewers are only interested in what you can do and what you have done, not what you have on paper. Or you hear that you need to be able to code. I'll use my own life as an example for you. Okay, in all honesty, I haven't written. First of all, I'm not a decent programmer, right? So I'm not good with React and Python and C++ and the rest of them. I have fundamental knowledge of what they are, right? But I have not had to work with coding in my cybersecurity career of over 12 years. I have never, and this is speaking from someone that I have worked for 4 financial organizations, right? And I have worked independently as a consultant for more than 12 organizations. I've tackled various security projects. And I am telling you that I have not always worked within the same role. Okay, so I have worked as a cybersecurity analyst, as a SOC analyst, as an information security consultant, as a risk assessor, as an incident responder, threat intelligence analyst, right? Okay, and I have not had to do an iota of programming across any of those cybersecurity job functions, those security operations job functions in my experience. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not saying that there is not a field in cybersecurity that requires coding. There is one field. Now, cybersecurity is like medicine, right? It's a career field that has various niches that you can concentrate on, just like how you can be an obstetrician, you can be a gynecologist, you can be a neurosurgeon, you can be a dentist, or you could practice general medicine. That is the same thing with cybersecurity. You could practice general cybersecurity, or you could focus, okay, on GRC. And you keep hearing GRC. Oh, you don't have to do programming, Yeah, but GRC is for you if all you want to do is continue to stare at Excel sheets and read and read and read and read and read every day. Like you're not tired of reading. All the reading you've been doing in the last 8 years or thereabouts since you've been in school, you're not tired of going through, reading and cramming and reading and cramming. Then that's for you. Well, if you are interested in a job that is interesting, right, that keeps you on your toes, but at the same time isn't overtly technical, does not require you to code, security operations is yours for the taking. You don't need to reinvent yourself, okay? And I'll be showing you that you really just have to repurpose what you already have. And you are in the best, or you've come to the right people to do that for you, right? Because Strategist as an organization is one that would not discard your previous experience. Now, all they do and all we do is to repurpose who you are to fit into what you want to be. So today's session, right, everything we're going to talk about, right, is not about hype. I'm not here to hype anything to you. Okay, I'm just here to show you a real pathway, to show you obtainable roles, right, to show you real income from my experience and the experience that I have. And please, you can collate questions that you have, and we'll take them all at the end of this this session. Okay, so what exactly is cybersecurity with respect to security operations? What exactly is security operations? And I'll just tell you in one word, right? Security operations is where the action happens in cybersecurity. Look, when you hear about cybersecurity and your mind is going to, oh, all the attacks and everything that is happening, all the threats to organizations, that's what the layman knows as cybersecurity. And yes, you don't get to talk about that or interact with that. You don't get to be knowledgeable about that in any other field of IT or cybersecurity. You want where the action happens. You want where the adrenaline is, right? That is security operations. You want a job where you're not bored. Every day you say, oh, you're tired. You're just going back there to do the same thing again. That is security operations for you. That is where the action happens. You're going to sit in a security operations center environment, not necessarily on premise, right? Your office, your workstation could be your own sub environment. And you sit behind dashboards and you sit behind other platforms and tools that shows you everything that is going on in an organization with respect to their security. And all we want you to do in your job is to, one, be able to identify that or be able to escalate it, which simply means identifying this action, right? And of course, there are tools and platforms that even do that job for you already. So yours is to just get that report, be able to identify the severity of what that tool is telling you is happening, okay? And then push it to a more experienced individual or escalate it. That is a job in security operations. Now you could have another job that requires you to perform a little investigation, to do a little bit of research into what that tool is telling you is happening. Oh, and with the advent of AI, that makes it all easier. Okay, you may have to cross-reference patterns, right? A very simple example could be that you, as a security operations analyst, might sit behind a tool that tells you that someone is trying to break into another system that they shouldn't have access to. Your job as the first line of defense in security operations might be to be able to say, oh, I am detecting this particular incident, right? Someone is trying to break into a system in my organization. And then you pick up your phone and you call the affected individual. Can you confirm to me if you are the one who is attempting to log on to that machine or not? Remember, a tool was what drew your attention to it. We didn't require you to start writing any code. We didn't require you to start learning any advanced skill set, right? We're just teaching how to use those kind of tools. Now, you're someone that has done some level of receptionist work or customer care work. This is awesome. Okay? Please get me wrong. I'm not saying that there are not more advanced or more difficult roles even within security operations. They exist, but they are all easily learned. Once you are someone that knows how to type mails, you are someone that knows how to write, how to read a report and understand what it's talking about, right? You know how to use your computer to log on to an email. You know how to install a program on your computer, like install Google Chrome, download Google Chrome, install it, and uninstall it. then you have the requisite soft and hard skills to learn security operations. Because every skill set that will be taught to you can be broken down and distilled to fit in what you already do. Essentially, we're just saying, come and be a detective for this organization. Come and be a dispatcher for this organization. But we're going to give you tools that will help you focus on security threats to the organization. Now, why is this the most practical path into cybersecurity? Why is it? Now, when I talk about practical path, I'm saying it's not only the easiest, right, as far as I'm concerned, it also fits into all your desires. You guys, you want to work from home. Well, at the very least, you want a hybrid job, right? Where you don't have to go to the office every day. You want a job that pays you a lot of money. You want a job that isn't so hard fixed on the time you have to work. So maybe you want it in shifts, or you want something that has a specific amount of time, right? You want a job that you don't have to stress your brain power too much. Okay, so which means that you have tools that are distilling your action, right? They brought all the information to you. You just have to take each and every one of those reports or each and every one of those outputs from those tools and then craft them in or interpret them in a way that is consumable, by non-IT people in your organization. You want a job that has a lot of demand. Okay? You want that security. And for me, one of the most beautiful things about it is that there is an endless list of specializations even without security operations. And I will tell you, this is where I beat my chest. Okay? And I'm going to tell you this. This is the only field, not only in cybersecurity, but as a role, in terms of career, right? In any career, this is the only field that gives you multiple options and it doesn't limit you. Look, if you start your career as a teller, you're going to be a teller forever. You'll be a teller or a cashier forever. If you start your job as a customer service officer, you will be a customer service officer or marketer or relationship officer forever. You start your job as a programmer, you'll be a programmer forever. But security operations is the only field that I can start as a cybersecurity analyst and I can pivot into threat intelligence officer. I can pivot from a threat intelligence officer and I said, look, they're not paying so much here again. I want to go into forensics and I can pivot into forensics. And I said, look, I don't want to be a forensic analyst anymore. I want to be an incident responder. And then you can pivot into an incident responder. It's the only field that can give you up to 10 specializations, if not more. And the skill sets within each of those specializations are easily transferable. In short, they are dependent on each other. They are easily transferable and they are dependent on each other. So when you come to security operations, in most security operations role, right, you find that they are tool-based, right? You see a lot of tools in there. This is why we say that anybody can learn security operations. Because I'm not going to start teaching you formulas. We're not going to start teaching you, we don't depend on everything you've learned before. Are you an individual that can learn new tricks? That's just what it is. Okay? You know how to put on a computer, you know how to type an email, you know how to install a program, you know how to uninstall a program, right? You know how to look at a basic screen and understand what is being put in front of you, right? You know how to use ChatGPT, or you can learn how to use ChatGPT. Security operations is there for you. Because every skill set you learn, right, is focused around using a particular tool. So yes, there are various skills, but those skills are skills that you need to operate. You didn't know how to drive a crane when you first came to Canada, but after 2 or 3 days, you learned how to drive a forklift. You learned how to operate a crane. You learned how to use a ventilator. You learned how to, impute logs. If you can do all those things, that you're a health worker, you learned how to impute logs. You learned how to follow procedure. Then you can learn cybersecurity tools. And in martial tech, they put the tools in your hands, right? Then you have an instructor who is not telling you go watch a recording. You have an instructor who sits in front of you, who tells you, do as I do. I'm going to do this, so do this. I'm doing it, you are seeing me doing it. At the same time, you are doing yours, and you are seeing the output of what that does. You learn how to use these tools. You can take them home with you and keep having access to them. Those are the skills. You know how to. You learn how to use it. You know how to follow procedures. Yeah, so within cybersecurity, there are job roles, a lot of job roles, and what they do is they have procedures, right? That tells you the first thing you do, you press this. The next thing you do is you send an email to the CISO. The next thing you do is you call the user to confirm if he logged on. We call those things playbooks. So even when you feel you are lost, you have guides in those jobs. Nobody is taxing your brain power. There is a repository. You know where to go to. Oh, I'm just going to go here. I'm going to get that information. I'm going to come back, and then I now know what to do. This is one of the few jobs that has high demands, right? That has high demands, but with a very low barrier in terms of what is required for you. I've met a lot of people, right? Oh, there are people that do not have even first degree, I'll be honest with you, right? But that's usually something you see within IT fields as a whole. You might not even have first degree and get jobs in IT. Okay, but let's talk about cybersecurity. You don't have to have a master's in cybersecurity. No, there's not. I mean, yeah, you can get a few jobs that say, oh, we want someone that has first degree in computer science or information technology or cybersecurity. Yeah, that's possible. But they are not usually stumbling blocks. For a lot of jobs, you don't see that as part of the requirements. And even the few that have them, they are not stumbling blocks. Once you can go and show that, oh, I have obtained training at this particular location. It's that field that does not require you to have gone to Seneca College or to have gone to any particular institution to have gone to study cybersecurity. No. What we just want to see is that you have demonstrable experience. You can show or you can speak the fact that you can do this job. Okay, so there are, I remember a student that I had, right? She's been a hairstylist for almost 11 years, even in Nigeria before she traveled to Canada, and she had never operated a terminal, right, or a Windows console before then. So of course, what she did was a 2-month introductory course into Windows environment, how to use operating systems, and so on and so forth, right? And then fast forward 3 months later, she learned what she had to with respect to cybersecurity. And in 3 months, she got a job. She got an entry-level job in cybersecurity. Yeah. Look, there are tales, okay, of people who have searched for 2 years, a year, 6 months before they got their jobs. But put it in hindsight, right? No, put it in context. Someone who has never worked in IT, right? You've never worked in IT. You have no experience whatsoever in IT. And even if it took you 4 months, even if it took you 6 months, you got a job in cybersecurity with little or no experience that you had on paper. Of course, by the time you go through our program, we're going to help you package your resume as if you have this experience. But put it in context of the individual itself, knowing the truth yourself, that without that experience, even if it took, I've seen people who got jobs 2 weeks, even within our programs, before you finish learning. There are people. I'm just saying that everybody's story is not the same. Okay, there are also seen people people who had to take 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, even a year. But when you put it in context, all I've ever done is I've been a security guard in front of a mall. And I went through your program, and you are telling me that from 20,000, from 30,000 a year, I got a job that pays 120,000, and I had to go through your program and then search for 6 months. I think that's rewarding. I really do think that's rewarding. Okay, so again, what I said initially, right? There is no coding required. I have never, in my own career how to code. And I'm telling you, right, everything you would learn if you sign on to this program, you're not going to require an ounce of coding. In short, there's money back guarantee. Okay. If there's any particular thing you are taught that requires you to learn how to code, but you don't. You wouldn't require coding to learn any of the skill sets that you will be taught. And these skill sets, they are taught to you in job focused scenarios, right? Things that you are going to see on the job. You have hands-on learning from day one. Okay, so this is the field that from the moment you come in, we're going to put you in charge of those tools, right? Get your hands dirty. I'm not going to start boring you with documents upon endless array of documents. No, I'm not going to start boring you with multiple pages of frameworks or policies or guidelines that you have to start reading and memorizing processes and all that. No. Okay? You wanted to learn how to browse, or you wanted to learn how to use TikTok. You didn't go and start learning manuals every day, right? You didn't go and start reading documentations around that. No, you practiced with it. You used it day one. By the time you used it day two, you got it. You didn't have to come back to it. Maybe you came back after 1 month. You pick up the app and you can still use it because you've learned how to use it. That is how we learn in security operations. Because the moment you are taught and you've practiced and you've done classwork on it, it is your knowledge. You own it. It's not something you forget if you don't read. It's only something you forget if you don't attempt to practice, from time to time. So I'm not sending you back into reading classes. All right. Can you guys hear me? Are you guys still? Can you hear me? I just want some responses. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can hear
Hello?
you.
Okay. And hope I am making sense to you, Linda. Right? I'm carrying you along. You can relate to what I'm talking about.
Yes,
I know
I
you guys
can.
will have questions for me, and I'm here to answer all the questions that you would have. Okay. I'm gonna answer everything, and I can see comments that other people have said. Even with PhD and so on and so forth.
Questions.
Yes,
sorry.
I'll take more questions. Are there any questions right now?
Yeah, no, I just want to ask the class a quick question. Does anyone feel like this is the space for them, based on what you've seen or heard so far? Is anyone still scared that, oh, no, maybe this is too technical for me? Sure, everyone to do.
So for me, I'm happy that there is no coding involved, So
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, what's your background like?
I'm currently a business analyst.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow, that is brilliant. You sure that speaks to one of the slides that we have today, right? That if as a business analyst, you are already perfectly situated to become a security operations analyst. Perfectly. And I'm going to relate that. I'm going to tell you why that is the case. Okay. Let's talk about another characteristic of security operations, which I already said initially, right? I said you have endless specializations. Let me put that to the test for you. Okay? So I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show the class something briefly. When you go, let's use LinkedIn as an example, and you are searching for the generic cybersecurity jobs, right? So I come in here, you go, oh, I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for cybersecurity jobs, right? What do you see? You see 6,000. This is as of today. Now I'm saying 6,128 results. You want to give yourself the best chances of securing a job. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think, you know that people are going into a particular field, right? And you're going to have to compete maybe with 100 people or 200 people. If you have a job pool of 6,000 compared to a job pool of 1,000, right? Where do you think you have better chances at securing a job? And I'm asking everyone. Anybody? Right? You're applying to vacancies. You're applying to a job pool that has 6,000 vacancies. And then you're applying to a job pool that has 1,000 vacancies. Right? which job pool do you think gives you a better chance of securing a job? Okay, I think far responding it's 6,000, right? So that yeah, and that's what you find, right? Look, when people come and say, "Oh, okay, come to this field or that field or cybersecurity jobs," truth is, when you start searching cybersecurity jobs, these jobs you see, okay, the moment you start looking at them, the jobs that come out under cybersecurity, when you scroll down into what they actually want you to do, provide initial analysis of IOCs, escalate, digital forensics, and so on and so forth. These jobs are security operation jobs. Okay, so you have these 6,000 jobs. You come in there, you say other jobs, right? Senior cybersecurity analyst. You look at what they want you to do. They want you to have an understanding of identity and access management. Okay, have an understanding of EDR, SIMs, and so on and so forth. These are security operation jobs. Okay, I can keep picking them. Right? Incident response lead, information security consultant. These are all cybersecurity jobs. And what you find are the requirements, tabletop exercises. They are security operation jobs. But when you say you are running to other fields of cybersecurity that have absolutely no security operations, say you want to look at something like GRC, and you're looking for a GRC job, your job pool reduces significantly. You now have to battle with everybody who is running away. The people that have this misconception already that cybersecurity or security operation jobs are technical, they require coding and so on and so forth. You want to leave that 6,000 and start running towards 1,000. Then you all go in there and then you choke yourself. And then you start looking at those jobs that say, oh, they are just GRC related. And I'll tell you the truth. Even when you come to some of these jobs that you've searched for, looking through GRC, among the requirements that they will also tell you, right, you still end up seeing one or two things that security operations. So, for example, you look at this one and they are saying you should still be able to demonstrate experience running and managing network and application vulnerability scanning and assessment. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Most jobs that purpose to be non-technical in IT and security operations, most jobs that focus on frameworks and guidelines in GRC and the rest of them, yes. So for a large degree, they don't require any sort of security operation, but a lot of them will still ask you for vulnerability management. And vulnerability management, you only learn from security operations. In short, I'll tell you the truth. Everything you do in those roles tell you to talk about and to speak about implementing certain skill sets that you only should have learned from security operations. So when you tell someone as a GRC analyst that says, oh, you have to install antivirus in all my organizations, but do you know what an antivirus does? You're telling people, if someone from IT challenges you back and say, oh, no, but I don't think we should do that because we have an EDR. Yes, you didn't go through security operations. You don't have that experience. You can't counter. And maybe with time and with experience, you are able to do so. But your best entry point, the place that gives you confidence to speak to any part of IT and cybersecurity, still remains security operations. Now, not only, all right, does it have a larger job pool, but like I told you, it's the only part, okay, and I'll keep saying it, that gives you endless specialization. So I don't only have to search for cybersecurity jobs. I can individually, all right, you're going to learn all these skills. You are going to learn all the skills that you need for all those jobs in Marshall Tech Security Operation Program as part of security operations. So you can now leave what everybody is running towards, right? The general security operation job, the whole 6,000 jobs, which of course is security operation job, right? Of course, you're going to give the 1,000 GRC jobs to GRC people. Then you can now start focusing and say, oh, I also have added skills. I want malware analysis jobs. And then you have your 241 that is focused on a niche. Even within this 6,000, that you are also qualified to search for. You can now also go back in there and say, oh, you know what? I want a digital forensic job. This is why you have a larger pool. It is only security operations that will do this for you. Okay, I can now come back and go for the 941 in digital forensic because it has those sub niches. You can come back again and say, oh, you know what? Now I want a threat intelligence job. This is also a subfield within security operations. And then you are exposed to the 1,055 jobs that require that skill set. Or you can go back again and say, no, this time around, I want a vulnerability management job within security operations. So even if you're not comfortable with all the skill sets in security operations, right? It is that field where you are taught something for 8 weeks. You are taught 8 different skill sets that allows you to get jobs across 8 different fields in security operations or across the general security operations 6,000 skill sets, 6,000 job pools, right? But you can also say, oh, when they taught me everything, what I really identified with was vulnerability management. And for that reason, I want a job that is just focused on vulnerability management. And the truth of the matter is, you will find those jobs that just require vulnerability management, that just require an incident responder, that just require a SOC analyst for detection and monitoring. Or you can beat your chest like someone like that and say, look, I don't care what it is. I'm going to apply for the cybersecurity manager, analyst, team lead job, and I'm going to take any skill set that they want to throw at me because I can do it all. So you have flexibility. You have that flexibility to pivot even between niches or attack everything in general. And for those of us who want job security, I'm going to tell you, right? JML, you want to come in here?
Yeah, just to add to what you were saying earlier about
Okay.
like someone like yourself, like, it doesn't matter what it is. But what I found with security operations is the fact that if you've done that part, you can get a job in GRC very easily because you've walked the walk. Or like someone that jumps straight into GRC, they understand the risk, but you have seen the threat, you've seen it in action. So it's easier to have the conversations on the other side. So if that's where like you found an opportunity, it's easier to speak about the risk that you've actually seen in action, not the ones that you're just thinking about in your head.
So, sure, I think I can speak to something you said. I remember I was I was working in a bank as a network security analyst, right? At a particular point, I applied for a job. I was pivoting. Okay, I had done a lot of security operations, and I wanted to pivot into GRC just to learn some risk assessment. And you know what happened? Out of everyone who applied for that role, they picked me. And the guy said because he wanted someone who his IT team could not confuse. Okay, because he wanted someone who had already gone through who has already gone through the hands-on, who has already gone through SecOps. So that when I now start coming from a risk standpoint, and I'm telling people that look, we can do this kind of encryption or we can apply this kind of control. When they are pushing back, you can state and say, but I have seen this done. But I have seen this done. I know it can be done this way. Because if you don't have this knowledge and you start going into all those roles that you feel is just going to be GRC or policy dependent or that requires no hands-on or full knowledge at all. If you meet someone like me on the other end and you're recommending those controls to you, I'm going to debate everything you send to me. If you don't have that experience, you either have the experience from your years in GRC or you have the initial know-how by having learned security operations. Okay, if you're not able to counter, you're going to go back not being able to do your job. I've seen someone, let me give you an example. I've seen someone who came to me and said that we should take backups of our systems more regularly than we used to do. And I told the lady, she's a judge lady, I said that's not possible. The system does not allow you to do something like this. It's going to take time. It takes us a lot. That information was wrong. Okay? I didn't want to do the job. I didn't want that stress. Do you know how these backups are taking? I have to share them. I have to impute the passkeys, the credentials, and so on and so forth. And she just said, okay. So how long are you now say? So I have to go back. That's why I seek approval. I mean, that was bad. I shouldn't have done that. But I'm telling you that I did not want that stress. You're not going to add that to my daily routine, right? And then I just pushed back. And haven't pushed back because the person at the other hand has no practical knowledge, has no security operations knowledge. They just took what I said as gospel. Of course, if something crystallizes later, they're going to go back and say, oh, but I didn't know. And we'll sit down and say, I mean, this was what we agreed on anyway. Okay, so when we are talking about the best path into cybersecurity, you cannot go wrong with security operation. And while you are on that, not going wrong with security operations, you still have those added benefits. For example, this is the most funded area in cybersecurity. It is the most funded area because the organization has to always set aside budget to protect its business. What means it's the most funded area? That is why you continuously have jobs being advertised, because the budget is there to employ people to defend the organization. When we say it's the most funded, that is where you continuously see that organizations send people on training for career advancement all the time to learn skill sets, to learn how to use those tools, because there is an onslaught of attacks against company. The attackers, what you know as hackers, they don't sleep. Day and night, they are always looking for how to infiltrate these organizations. And because they are always looking to attack organizations, the organizations cannot say they are not going to invest. The organizations cannot say that jobs, we're going to sack people. So I had 20 people here. I have 20 people defending me against organizations, against threats, and then I'm now going to say, okay, our budget is tight. I am going to sack 10 out of the 20 people that prevents me from losing millions and billions of dollars. How? They don't do that. I'm not saying that there are not job cuts in security, but it is less prevalent than you find in a lot of other careers. And one of the reasons why that happens is because, I'm going to come back to this, is because artificial intelligence cannot replace those jobs. This is one of those fields that is resistant to AI change. What we've succeeded in doing in security operations is to use artificial intelligence as an assistant. AI becomes an assistant. AI cannot give human context. Your artificial intelligence can write policies for your organizations. Your artificial intelligence can write documents. They can do business analysis for us. They can write reports for us. They can write reports. They can do a lot of things today. But they cannot successfully react without human intervention. You still require, even if you have an AI tool that can react, you need a human being to sit behind it and give it a go ahead to say, okay, I've looked at what you want to do. And I can also confirm, all right, so let me give you a very practical example, right? We have an individual, we get an alert in security operations that says that he's logging on from China, okay? But our organization has no business in China. So even if at best we have a tool that can detect that can block that, okay? I require a human being to stop that, and a tool can also stop that user from logging on. Do you know what your tool cannot do? Your tool cannot call the person in China to ask, or call his supervisor in Canada to ask, oh, did we give Rotimi or Linda or Olu permission to go to China on vacation or on training? Does he have the permission to connect remotely? or to use a VPN because I can see this happening. It is only you as the SecOps person that can do that, not AI. So there are so many other reasons, okay? Communication, judgments, they are required in security operations. You cannot replace that with artificial intelligence. Of course, artificial intelligence can follow procedures, it can follow routines, but your threat actors, the hackers that we have today, they are also changing. And as they continue to change, you cannot use a robot that only follows instruction, what it's been told to do. You also need humans that can adapt to those changes. Oh, you moved right, okay, let me move right. You move left, okay, let me move left. And most importantly, as we continue to push artificial intelligence across the organizations, across various careers, the only place you can monitor the artificial intelligence so that it does not also become a pain to you, does not also become malicious to your organization, is through security operations. Security operations is what will now monitor, that artificial intelligence for you. So it is never a replacement. It's just a boon. It's an assistance. It does not take away jobs in this field. And then I was talking about, I'm going to be faster now, right? I was talking about skills you had. I said, look, if you started an IT support person, for example, it means you already know how to troubleshoot. It means you already know how to document incidents at your core. It means that you know how to escalate, how to report, how to send mails to your superiors. That is something you need in security operations already. You're not discarding that. You are a customer service officer, which means that you know how to be calm under pressure. Yeah, if I'm not going to lie to you, right? It's a real-time environment, so it's a little bit pressurized. You are able to stay calm under pressure. You are able to communicate. You are able to communicate. Okay? These are essential skills that cannot even be taught easily, right? But you have them already. Okay, you have experience in compliance or in audits. That means that you are very good at following policies, very, very good at following procedures. You know how to identify gaps. You know how to report things with accuracy. Yes, then that is a skill set. With these security operations, we have niches, we have jobs, we have careers that fit into that skill that you have perfectly. All you have to do is let a two or more skill sets that now allows you to pivot successfully into SecOps. You work in health homes. You're a health worker, for example. That means you already know how to respond to high stress scenarios. You already know how to follow protocols, right? You already know how to protect information of your patients. You're a business analyst. You can look at trends. You can look at graphs. You can look at numbers and it makes sense to you. You are a perfect SOC analyst already. All you need to do is learn a different tool that helps you now analyze trends or analyze incidents as they occur in security operations. But you already have what you need to be successful in it. So I'll tell you, look, if you're a security guard, right, work in security and you're a security guard, you already have the best skill sets you need for SOC because you're already tuned into spotting suspicious activities, into sourcing out suspicious patterns. You see someone that should not be in your environment at a certain time of the day, right? It's the same thing in cybersecurity. It's the same thing in security operations. The difference now is that you have a tool that is telling you that this person is attempting to log on when they should not be logging on. Then that security skill set you have in you, right, starts ringing alarms. You know how to report incidents. You know how to follow chain of commands. It doesn't matter, okay? And Marshall Tech is very tuned into bringing out those transferable skills that you have from your existing role and tell you how they fit within security operations. And this is what a lot of people want to see. Okay, so you can easily, you can go to this web page. All right, this is not fluff. This is something you can do by yourself. Go to ca.canada.talents.com, right? And when you get in there, you can search for any job title within security operations and ask it to find what the average salary looks like. Okay, and I just have like a short compilation. I have a short compilation of what that looks like for you guys. Sorry, where's that slide? Yeah. Okay, so these are specific roles, right? The security analyst, yeah, you can have a medium pay of 110 Canadian, right? You could, but that also depends on your negotiating power because this is average. Everything you see in this medium is average. You could get as high as 144. Okay, you want to be a malware analyst, for example, right? What's obtainable in that field is in the high 120s, right? You can go as high as 132, if not more. You want to be an incident responder. This is what is obtainable. 113 from nowhere compared to what you were earning before to what you could earn now. You could go as high as 150. And in short, there are ways to earn more than this. You can get 180, 200. I can tell you that there are ways to do that. Okay, and that is one thing that Marshall Tech is also very good at. For most people, I tell you, depending on your age and your experience, right? It's not everybody that I want to go. Like, don't go for a job as an incident responder. Why not go for a job as an incident responder manager, incident responder team lead, and then or a soft team lead, and then you start going. Look, if you've been working for 8 years or 10 years, I'm not going to have you go and start saying you're looking for a security operations job as an analyst at a tier 1. I will find that it's easier to go as leads because nobody expects you to even know the tools so much as a leader. What we now want you to do is demonstrate that you can manage people that can use these tools or that have this skill set. And tell me, how are you going to say that you can manage someone that knows how to identify an attack if you do not already know how to identify an attack? So let us teach you how to identify them, how to use these tools. Then go out there and say that you manage people who do this. And speak as someone who has been a leader in this space. And from all the internship that we give you, the kind of experience, the kind of projects that we give you, let that fill into your project, let that fill into your experience. And then go out there and demand for 200 and 180. Security operations will give you options. You go as a threat intelligence analyst. I tell people, if you don't want stress at all, go for threat intelligence jobs where you are reading news. Okay, recently there was so I'm going to tell you something what this job looks like, right? You're a threat intelligence officer within security operations. Okay. Recently, you heard about the release of the data breach at Nova Scotia Power, right? Where a lot of personal information, of some of us, right, were released into the wild. Okay. Now, what a threat intelligence officer would do is, if Olu is a threat intelligence officer and he works for Scotiabank, right? He's going to create a memo and say, look, this is what happened with Nova Scotia Power, right? They had certain vulnerabilities and now their data was stolen. These are the lessons I have learned. These are the kind of threat actors that did this attack. I am recommending that we do this and that and this. This is the kind of file or the kind of email that was sent to Scotia Power that allowed them hack the email boxes and subsequently the accounts of their employees. Let us take this email header and the users that sent this email and block them in our organization. That is your job, threat intelligence analyst. So every day you listen to exciting things that happen. You go to sites and look for exciting things that happen about how various other organizations were affected. And then you put that into your organizations and you draw the attentions of people, giving them intelligence of threats. This is a job within security operations. Or you want to be a digital forensic analyst. And these are just analysts, entry jobs, analyst jobs. Okay. Sorry, I was looking at something.
Okay, sorry, yeah, that's just me. Just
Yeah,
just to buttress, what you're saying. I just share that link. It's a C-suite role. It's
okay.
not a senior role by any means, and you look at what they're willing to pay. And I would also, once you get on there, you can also go to the Canada role and see a lead role See what they're paying for a lead role, and you see the requirements. Which one would you take? Yes,
Yeah,
take it
so
or
I'm
leave it.
trying to do that. Yeah, it's taking some time.
Okay, or you can just go directly to client-based careers if it's taking time to load.
Yeah, because I have several tabs open on my system. That's
Right,
why
right,
it's
right.
like that. So, but it will come up and I will get back to it once it comes
Yeah,
up.
you can get back to yeah.
Okay, so you have those options, right? And there are so many other roles. If you look at this, right? You can go 161. You could go 161, for example, for vulnerability management roles. And I'll tell you, I normally tell people this is one of the simplest jobs in security operations because you just learn the tool and tell the tool what to do. And it identifies everything for you, gives you a report that you can immediately give to people. You're not typing the report, you're not performing the actual activity, you just sit back, sip a cup of coffee, right? And a tool does the work of identifying vulnerabilities and then creates a report for you. Do you want the report in Excel? It will give it to you. Do you want the report in PDF? It will give it to you. In short, do you want to sit back and let the tool send an email on your behalf to whoever requires it with the report? It can do that. I don't want to ask you that if that is the case, why are they employing people? Why are people doing this job? Well, the truth is, like in environments where I've seen these roles, right? They may do 50 of them every day. Okay, so it's a very repetitive role. You could have 50 of them every day. So if you go, you might be responsible for putting 50 of the different assets that you want to be scanned, and then the tool does the rest of the job. Then you collect the reports and then you share. All right. So you have so many more of the. Oh, so this didn't come up. Okay, Dara, can you have it open on your screen and you could just share it and I'll pivot over to your.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think I sent the wrong link. Let me steal the share real quick.
Oh, so but I'm just going to answer one of these questions, right? Would you not need to learn Linux to function in this role? Absolutely not. Okay, so and even before now, right? You may be afraid about things like this, but with AI, look, if there's anything you need to type in Linux, AI gives you the command. But I'll also tell you that you don't have to learn Linux for these rules. The reason why you're not going to do that is because you are not logging on to Linux servers to do these things. You are working with tools that have already been installed. So they're just giving you the graphical user interface. You are pressing send, analyze, and so on and so forth. You're not working on the Linux or on the Windows environments themselves. So you absolutely do not need to learn Linux to function in these rules. Will it be an advantage if you know how to do it? Yes. But today, artificial intelligence has blocked all advantages, as far as I'm concerned, right? What AI has come to do is you cannot be boisterous of its particular advantage again against me. That thing you think you know that I don't know, I'm going to use AI to do it. Then what's not the difference between me and you?
Okay, maybe this would help with the question as well. You look at what they're asking. Then you're working with the security of. You look at the job title because I'll use this to answer one of the questions as well. Someone asked, when you were searching for jobs earlier on LinkedIn, someone asked, but you're not searching for security operations. And
Oh, okay.
there are different ways to search for jobs in this field. Well,
Okay.
security operations is an area of cybersecurity, not exact. You may not be a job title. And someone also said, oh, is this not tier one SOC? I said, no, it goes more than that. There's more to it. You can see this rule. The security analyst, CSIRT, that's the cybersecurity incident response team. That's what this is. That's what this means. Cybersecurity incident response team. But you see the job title, security analyst, not SOC, like not security. But then you look at here, it said you're working with the security operations group. Right. Now, you can look at the different things they're talking about. They're not talking about the code, the line of code or something. There's nothing that mentions Linux or anything here. And then you come here, incident response, fish kits, malware analysis. These are things you would learn. investigating account compromises are things you would learn straight up. There's nothing talking about Linux here. Now, let's look at the beautiful part, and it's remote. The beautiful part of it, this is a job in the US. It's paying one. This is not even a senior role. This is not a senior role by any means. 144 to 1. Something Ken mentioned earlier that you don't, like, you can negotiate for things. And the salary that is showing, like, average, you can negotiate for certain things, right? So this is one company that pays well. It's not even a senior role. It's not a managerial role. It's not a lead role. It's just a security analyst role, intermediate, and you're earning this. Now, if we take it back, you see one of the lead roles in Canada. This is a job in the US. If you look at one of the lead roles in Canada, that's what I was looking at earlier. This was clearly stated, lead security analyst. See, lead security analyst. This is not a managerial role, it's a lead role. Let's say, even what they're asking for, you can see, nice to have. This is a nice to have. This is what we look for. Again, nothing about Linux. This is a lead role, remember?
Nothing about Linux, nothing about coding.
Not coding, yeah. So it's an understanding of SQL is an advantage. It's not all a similar platform. There's KQL, that different things. You don't have to worry about this because it's the last thing out of everything else. Now, your ability to, this is my ability to communicate with both technical and non-technical stakeholders in order to drive cross-functional alignment. That's the key requirement for any of these roles that I can tell you. Now, let's look at the salary. And I'm showing you this because this is what is on the screen. I know a bit about this particular role, and I can tell you that it is way more than, it's up to 250K, this job. I know that for sure, 100%, because I know a few things. I don't want to say too much. I know a few things about this particular role. This role that they're hiring for and the person hiring for it. It's up to 250K, but it states 211K here. So, again, I'll pass it back to Ken, but I just got to add this context to what he's been saying, just so we see what this bit looks like. What you can see is there's none of the roles that state clearly security operations. And I said it in the chat that in Marshall Tech, we show you how to search for jobs. People will come and say there are not so many cybersecurity jobs. That's not true. There's so many cybersecurity jobs. It just depends what you're looking at. Over to you, Ken.
Oh, okay. So I'm sharing my screen. Maybe can you stop sharing? So it's the same thing, right? I just took an example. Went to Scotiabank and I was searching Scotia cybersecurity. That was how I started. Just for example, I was like Scotiabank cybersecurity jobs, right? And it came here. I just did this one now for fun, just to see what comes up, right? And then you can see most organizations have career fields for cybersecurity roles, right? But then looking at current opportunities, right? And this came up. Now you look at this. You look at all these roles. I'm telling you that all these roles, apart from this one, apart from this role, this senior manager, governance and control, the rest of these roles, you see, they are all security operations, privilege and access management control, cybersecurity data investigations, principal penetration tester, cybercrime investigator, cybercrime security investigations. The one I was talking about, intelligence, right now, senior cyber threat intelligence analyst. They are not called security operations. You're not going to see them as security operations. Okay, because security operations it's just like you don't see a vacancy, you hardly see vacancies medical doctor, right? You don't see vacancies general medicine like that. Most of the time what you see gynecologist, neurosurgeon, so when you have a job that has a domain in knowledge space, in knowledge area, right? But the actual jobs within, right, can have various titles. And of course, you can see a basic cybersecurity analyst or cybersecurity engineer. Yeah, you see those ones too as jobs. But most of those jobs fall under. That's why I said it is one of, if not the only, that gives you several niches to choose from. Okay, and if we go back to the slides that we have, right? So when we've left all this P, okay, this is what this organization, Marshall Tech, can do for you. We'll teach you, right? It's not about fluff, right? We'll teach you the skill sets, the hands-on real job skill sets that you need for those jobs. I take most of those classes, all right? It's not about just teaching you what you learn in class. Teach you what you learn on the job, how to speak on the job, the right words to use on the job, how to become comfortable talking that way, right? We give you hands-on labs, so it's not just theory. Nobody's sure there's hardly theory. This is I don't like those kind of classes where I start giving you PowerPoints and materials. We hardly do that. Okay, maybe just to guide you. It's you come into the environment. I have my system. You have your system. This is what I'm going to press. This is what you're going to press. This is what will come out. This is what will come out. And this is what the action or the output looks like. Then you take this. This is how I'm going to craft an email and maybe escalate. And why don't you attempt to do that also? Should I also teach you how to make a lot of all those things easier for you, right? Marshall Tech has mentorship programs, right, that pair you up with people that can walk you through this career path. They're not just going to teach you and abandon you, okay? They're going to teach you, give you experts that can continue to guide you, hold your hands, when you're preparing for interviews, show you, the best way to prepare for interviews, answer interview questions, how to recreate your mindset, right? How to recalibrate your mindset to live whatever kind of profession you were doing before, but to actually think and respond as someone who has been in this field for 5 to 10 years. I don't want you guys to come and start going for analyst roles. Come and start applying for team leads, for management roles. Yes, why born? Because if you come and you give me a resume, and in that resume, I can see you've been working. Maybe you just put 3 years on that resume. But I asked how old you are. I can see you are 40 years. Why in goodness name should you have 3 years experience and you are 40 years? Because you want to fit into an entry-level role. You want to fit into a sub-group. No, you don't have to do that. So what you need to do is know what is required on the job. You're going to learn that. You know what is required on the job as an analyst, right? So that's fine. But where you are today, maybe you are head of a sales team. You are head of a marketing team. You are head of a healthcare team, even if they're just nurses or whatever. That means you have management experience. The only difference is you know what they do on that job, right? So that's why you can manage them and you can speak to management. So why don't you let me teach you what is done in security operations job so that you can present as a manager or a team lead in this case and go for 200. But that's what you really need. And then, but if you're on the younger side and you want to build yourself up and you say, okay, you want to go for entry-level roles, and that's also fine. And let me tell you one other thing, right? The beauty of this is you also don't have to wait for jobs. You can go independent. I don't work for a company today. Okay, I used to tell you myself. I'm more comfortable as a consultant. I work for various companies at my own time and space, and I count my checks at the end of the month. I don't have to wait searching for jobs now because I take my portfolio. I might have to draft several proposals every week, right? I give to various companies or various net connections, people that I know, from small scale industries to, from grocery shops to car dealers and everybody. They have systems that need some element of security operations, maybe to just check for vulnerabilities, maybe to just do some kind of phishing assessment. There are several services that you can register a business name and then present as a security officer. You can have that on the side. So it avails you with various means of real wealth generation, income generation. All right, then, of course, we have several projects that are given to you over the course of your training that allows you to practice and keep on practicing. At the end of your training, we have platforms, okay, that we are currently paired and certified with that allows you to continue to practice what you have learned. And then you can obtain certifications. They will give you certifications that are industry globally recognized, all right, that also strengthens your job process. There is no tool you find outside in terms of classification might not be by vendor, but in terms of what a tool does that we don't teach you how to use before you get out there. That we don't make sure that you are comfortable before the end of every class. And you have an instructor that hardly ever wants to stop classes until he is sure that everybody understands what has been taught. You have instructors that you can tell to rewind, to go back 10 times, 50 times. And no matter how upsetting or tiresome it is, they also get their own fulfillment from making sure that you understand before classes are done. Okay? And then at the end of the day, you want to create a resume, you want to get support for jobs. Marshall Tech does that for you. This is the best, if not one of the best places that will ensure that continuously, even after you have exited the program. So you finish the program, but you are part of the community. You finish the program, but you're part of the community, and you continuously have access to people, to resources that continue to package you, that continues to tune you into how you can now best reap the fruits of the commitments you've made to learn this particular field with Marshall Tech. Okay, so at this point in time, I want to open up for any questions while I'm handing over to Dr. Mukhtar. I'm also here to answer all the questions that you guys have been typing, all the questions that you've had in store for me. That's fine. Oh, someone said I can sell snow to a snowman. No. So, look, now, again, what certification is needed for this? Look, again, look, I'll tell you for a fact, right? The first 3 jobs I got in cybersecurity, I didn't have any certification. Speaking for my own self, not speaking for anybody outside. Okay, the first 3 jobs I got, I had no. I think that made me lazy with respect to going out for certifications. It really made me lazy. Okay, but I'll tell you this. Okay, I have a lot of people that. So this is how it works, right? Certifications are not compulsory in security operations, but if you have them, they are benefits. They only enhance your opportunities. An absence of that does not stop you, because ultimately it is about what you can do and how you can sell what you can do to your invigilators. I was speaking with a manager the other day back, and he was saying that, look, he doesn't understand what's happening. They do interviews for people that have a lot of certifications, and when they do that interview, these guys cannot demonstrate that they know how to do these things. Because AI can write resumes for you and pad different certifications and skill sets, but you are the only person that can speak to that job. And what organizations are looking out for are people that can actually do what they say or what is contained in their resumes. So when Marshall Tech helps you pad that resume, we actually do teach you the skill sets that you need and get you to be able to speak to it. So yes, the certifications that you can add, are they needed? No. Do they help you? Yes. And from day one till you end, Marshall Tech will continuously guide you with respect to what certifications you can go after. Okay? If you are interested in certifications, what certifications you can go after, the minimum ones you should have, and they will guide you into getting there. You'll probably even get there before the end of the program. Absolutely. But they don't, even an absence of them does not take away from them. I'm not a certification hungry person myself. Okay? Yeah, and it's not hindered me significantly in my life. Although I can also tell you that when it's not like I have them, or I have more than 6, 7, 8 on my own, in my own time. But even before I did, even before I had them, I've always been able to demonstrate. I've always been able to speak to what I can do. And I've always found that experience has always counted more than any certification that I've said. I've gotten jobs that people that have better certifications than me were going for. And there are other people that can speak to this. There are past students from this program that I'm sure Dr. Mukhtar can bring to also talk to you about this. That will tell you that, they didn't have all the certifications, and at the end of the day, they were able to get a job or the other. Jeremy, please, over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's interesting. That's exactly what I wanted to speak to, the certification part, though. You did justice to that. I know something I didn't mention to you. Angela, she now works with one of the banks around here. She actually just referred her friend. She doesn't have any.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was student from my last class. One of the students
I just finished.
my last class. Yeah.
Yeah, she resumed, I think, 2 weeks ago. and a friend just
And she
signed up.
resumed in May. I think she told me that.
Yes, earlier in May.
And that's just one of the success stories of the numerous success
Yeah,
stories that
she doesn't have any of the certifications we're talking about. Now, with MarshallTech, one thing you can be rest assured of is that you will be living with at least 2 certifications, and Security Plus is not one of them. That's one thing I want to point out, because a lot of people, oh, go and get Security Plus and you get into cybersecurity. No, Security Plus is what anybody on the street can get. So Security Plus is not one of the certifications you get. Security Plus is not a certification for security operations, it's just a cybersecurity certification like any other. But you will get the ones that are critical to the different areas of cybersecurity that you'll be looking at. So that when it even goes on your resume, they can, from what you have as part of your experience and your certification, they can tell who you really are. You get into the interview, you can speak to the things because you have the practical knowledge, the practical experience. You can speak to it. That's what we do here. So we're not all about packing 10, 20 certifications. It's about getting the right ones that present you well.
Thank you very much. I think someone asked if knowledge in network security is required. So I'll tell you, right, I'm very honest, okay, that the best platform you can have before you go into cybersecurity is network security. If you have any interactions with networking before going to cybersecurity, you won't even have 1% stress, not any kind of stress at all. Okay, but however, our programs starts from an introduction into network security to PIP. Okay, so that the program actually starts by introducing network security to you. Okay, so that knowledge, is it important? Yes, it's important. An absence of it, will it stop you from getting a job in SecOps? No, because there are a lot, and that's the beauty of it. There are a lot of niches, there are a lot of sub roles in security operations, like forensics, for example, right? Like malware analysis, like endpoint protection manager or analyst. You do not require network security knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is not. There is a home for everybody in security operations. There is a home for you to pivot to that fits what you have, what you can learn. If you're not interested in being a master of everything. Okay, I'm just filtering through the questions that were typed. If you have.
Yeah, I tried to answer some of them earlier in the chat, though.
Oh, okay.
How much is the training? Okay, so this is how we put it. So you can start depending now on where you are, your status in the space. You can start with as low as $200 per month. In fact, for some, they pay nothing in the first month, depending. So we're in partnership with some companies that kind of fund it for you upfront. Now, if you don't have that, you can even start with as low as $2,000 per month. So total costs, and I'm explaining what that looks like. The total cost right now, based on the discount we're running, would be $4,000, which again includes everything that Ken has talked about, including the free access to that platform for up to 6 months, where you're continuously learning and all of that. You're continuously learning and building your practical experience. So okay, but yes, that would be the total cost of it. We're not trying to there are no hidden costs, and that includes the certifications we talked about as well. Right? There are no hidden costs, or to say, okay, after 6 months pay this, after 3 months pay something else. That would be the total cost in any case. It doesn't matter how you come in. It doesn't matter if you're using our partners, if you're paying yourself up front, whatever that, the total cost would not be more than that. Now, what does the course contain and list of tools that will be covered? Okay, that's an interesting question, and I'm not sure this is right.
We want to share that here. It's intellectual property.
Because this field, there's so many tools. There's so many.
So I'll just give you an overview, right? We're going to cover. Look, the truth is, I always tell people that can teach you as much as you can. It's how much of what will be taught are you able to sponge up in the amount. The time is fixed. Okay, so it depends on the it depends on the attitude of the class most often. But minimum, this is what we try to do, right? You learn about networking, you learn you learn about an introduction to networking as a whole, right? You learn vulnerability management, you learn incident response, threat intelligence, static malware analysis, dynamic malware analysis, you learn digital forensics, you learn network forensics, right? We've talked about vulnerability management, threat intelligence, threat hunting, MITRE attack framework. So there's EDR and endpoint protection. All right. So which covers everything that you find across any security operations job role. Okay. All right. So the only thing is that is structured to be covered in 8 weeks or 7 weeks thereabout. But if it's a class that is eager to learn, to put in the time, the effort, we can cover that and even cover more if you want. In terms of tools, we learn how to use various tools. Vulnerability management tools like Qualys and Nexus, ADR tools, like Sophos, like Huntress. You learn how to use malware, static malware analysis tool, like IDA Pro or Procmon, AS Studio, digital forensic tools like
I know the person that
there's just so many of them.
Like the person means well, but there are people here that will be like, oh my god, that's a lot,
Yeah.
right?
So I don't
that's not
want
the idea.
so many things. That's not the idea. Okay. So there are a lot of things that you can learn. But what I want to impress on everybody is, remember, I'm telling you that this is a field that has like 8 different kind of job roles, even within that field. Has a general job role and has like 8 various job roles. And it's one of those fields where you don't even have to learn everything. If you are very good at 3 of the skills or domain areas that will be taught, that opens up the general roles and 3 sub roles for you to focus on. And just like the doctor has said, you can book a call, you can learn more about all this, so that you can start as soon as possible.
Yes, absolutely. And our next group actually starts in a week. So how can you get the full course outline? Once you book your call with us, there's a two-step process. We want to know. So this is where our programs work. We want to make sure that you're the right fit for us. Like Ken said, it requires your commitment, right? So are you the right fit for us? Can we work with you? Then we'll talk about what that looks like. You already know, so there's nothing hidden, right? You already know what it would cost you or end to end. It doesn't matter how you join, how you do. You already know what it costs you. So what we're just looking at is, are we the right fit for you? Are you the right fit for us? How can we work together? That's what we're doing on that call. And we'll get you started. You would see, we'll also share document breaking down what this entails, what you get out of. We keep it very small. We keep the class size very small because we want to make sure that every single person, and that's how we know everybody's names. We know everybody's journey, we know everybody's story. We keep it very small because we want to make sure that you are taking value out of it. If you run into a challenge, you don't want to start running around thinking, oh, how do I get help? We want to know right there on the call. Even if you're not, you don't have it, it's very practical. 4 hours will fly by like it's nothing. So there's no way you would hide and say, oh, I'm in class, but I'm not in class. There's no way. You have to be present. So because that's the only way you can take in everything. That's the only way those things can be useful for you after now. That's the only way you can launch your career with confidence. So it's a very small class. Correct me if I don't think we've actually had a class that's more than 10.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. So everybody keep that simple. So everybody can learn. Everybody can take value out of it. Is there any other question I'm missing? Yeah. So the link is there. Let me see if I can pin it. If you want to book your call, I'll say book it now. The next group starts in a week. So, and the earlier you start, the better, because you would go through enrollment. Once we get you started, you go through onboarding before your class starts. So we want to make sure that you have all the time. What did you say? Right. Yes, there are different options. That's why I said for some, depending on where you are and your status, For some, they can start with $0 for the first month because we're in partnership with some companies that can help you make that payment and spread it across for you. But in any case, yes, you can spread your payment. The project lasts for about 8 weeks. You have, like Kenneth said, you have continuous access to the community for up to 6 months, even after. You have continuous access to your labs and projects. Coach-led projects would last for 8 weeks. But you have continuous access to mentorship and the community for up to 6 months after. You have continuous access to projects and laboratory work, like pretty much what your live environment would look like, where you can continuously own your skill for at least 6 months after that. So you can say it's a 6-month program, pretty much. I thought someone unmuted earlier. I think Momola. I don't know if she has something to say. Do you help with job placement? Absolutely, yes, we do. So the mentorship and all of that we do to get towards making sure that you can start a career in this space. Taking all that knowledge is for nothing if you don't know how to use it, right? So we'll guide you. In fact, would build your resume for you based on your existing resume, based on what you've done in the past. We want to see your past experience. That's what Ken was saying earlier, that you can't have 15 years of work experience and then because you're pivoting into cybersecurity, you say, oh, I have no work experience. We can leverage all of that to position you well for very good roles in cybersecurity. And we'll also mentor you to build your confidence, to coach you to build your confidence in that space so that when you get an interview, you can confidently have the conversation. And every week we prepare you for interviews. We have our own internal recruiter actually actively search for opportunities for our people and bring it to us. But we refer you to those opportunities. What we ask for from you is to always show. It's when we know where you are in your journey, we know exactly how to help and where to help. So yes, we support you for job placement. Absolutely. And we have people already working with us as well. As well as a consulting firm. That depending on the needs and the projects, we have people working with us. So the sessions are on weekends because we know people are busy. So Saturdays, Sundays, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. But we have mentorship sessions that happen weekdays as well, which is 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Olu, did I answer your question? Thank you. Okay. All right. And Careful, did that answer your question? And I would say the best time to start is now. In fact, the best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is today, is right now. So if you're interested in this, and I'll tell you, can't get it wrong. So one thing I would say, and take it from me, because I've worked on both sides, and I can tell you that, especially those that are going into GRC. GRC is good because we also offer that. It's good, but what you'd find is that it is not saturated. Cybersecurity cannot become saturated, but it's becoming crowded. Everybody that says, "Oh, I don't want to do technical," or "I don't want to code," because a lot of times they think technical means coding in cybersecurity. What it does is it opens you up to a lot more opportunities. And this is the kind of role where you're not having endless meetings. You're not having to read and read because you're not reading new frameworks every day. You're not reading new regulations every day. Yeah, maybe there are a few parts that would relate to you, say PCI cases, for example, on the vulnerability and scanning side of it. Or maybe firewall configuration, which you don't even have to worry about. The GRC guys will tell you what they're looking for. So this gives you an advantage over a huge advantage actually over people that are just going straight into GRC. Okay, that's good. Thank you. I think that's Femi, right? I know you mentioned your name at the start. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Femi. We'll connect once you book the call. We'll be speaking with one or two of our representatives once you book the call. Okay, we're already over time. Does anyone have any other question before we end the session today? And we'll try to make the recordings available as soon as possible so that the few that missed it or those that had to drop off at some point can get access to it and make a decision as soon as possible. Does anyone have a last minute question that I can take before we drop off? Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been a pleasure having you here. It's always I always enjoy this. Omoni, come on the call. Let's talk. That's something. There's an interesting thing, right? I'll just say this real quick. Having or not having the uh, the funds is no, that's subjective. Like it's a different thing. It's about okay, what's the highest priority right now? Is it changing that story, getting that lucrative career you want? Is it priority right now, or buying a house, buying a beautiful car? Or, different things. But again, it doesn't matter what the situation is right now. I would say book that call. Let's see what we can do together. Let's see what options are there for you. All right. Thank you all and enjoy the rest of the weekend. And for those that are booking the calls, I will see you all. Someone from my team will see you soon. Bye, everyone.